Hey, Builder fam. It's your host, Kevin Hohe here. I got Peggy Aschenbrenner on. She is somebody super special to me. I've been both on the front row and the sidelines to her career journey in construction, from the health industry to the trades. I hope you enjoy our conversation. All right, so Peggy Aschenbrenner. All I remember, I have the privilege of working with you closely at times. I know that we were both born and raised in the same town of St. Charles, Illinois, but the audience knows nothing about you. So take me from when you enter this world to just before you decide to, or don't decide, or whatever you would call your decision to change professions. So just take me on the journey.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, like you said, I was born and raised in St. Charles, so grew up just a suburban girl. And I would say that I grew up with parents who were a little strict and kind of really just wanted me to make my own way. So from a very young age, I remember them telling me, you're going to work. Like, you want to go to college? Like, this is what it's going to cost, and you better save for it and make it happen. So from a young age, I was kind of in charge of my own future and making sure that I set out goals and then achieved them. So I did a number of things as a kid, and, normal kid stuff. I was in the band, I ran track, I danced.
Wait, what instrument? This is my favorite part of doing this, is like, there's people that I think I know really well that I'm like, yeah. So wait, what instrument?
I can play the piano and the trumpet. So in the band, yeah. So, and my parents kind of told me, I learned some things about grit as a kid too, right? Like my parents said, if you play the piano and you play it for at least 8 years, you'll never forget. Like, it'll be ingrained in you and you'll never forget, and you'll be able to play it for the rest of your life. And I fought them and I I hated it and I gritted it out and I did it. And, to this day, I can sit down and play the piano. So
nice.
There's a lot of good lessons from my childhood. I had two brothers, one older, one younger. So I was the only girl in the middle. Yeah, so I had both my brothers. I always say I'm the dumb one in my family, which is not true.
I'm not buying it.
But comparatively, right? My older brother is an engineer and working on race cars, and he's in the carbon capture business now. And he's a doctor. My younger brother's a doctor, and both just did incredible academic things. And so I was the one in the middle who was just, I would say, well-rounded. Like, I did a lot of different things. Did I do anything super awesome? Maybe not. But definitely more of the personable kind of person. And that was a big part of life for me. It was like friends and family, and then just kind of making my own way and trying a bunch of different things to figure out what I liked. So
I have to ask, and I don't even know what I'm asking, but they always say it. Are you a typical middle child?
Oh, gosh. Well, I think it's different because I was the only girl, maybe. But yeah, probably a little stuck in the middle. Like, I have 4 kids of my own now, and they are always saying, well, we're the middles. And, so we're not the baby, so we don't get that attention. We're not the first, so we don't get that attention. But yeah, so maybe a typical stuck in the middle. But I think I was helped out a little because I was a girl, and the only one of those.
There you go.
So childhood was good to me. Tried a bunch of different things. Like I said, probably dance and music were my big ones. And then I graduated high school, of course, and I decided I had saved enough money to go to college. So I went to U of I, and I said, I want to help people. I want to be in business. And I always wanted to. It's funny that you asked me now, because I always wanted to like have my own business, or that kind of entrepreneurial spirit always kind of captured me, but I wanted to help people at the same time. So that's why I decided to go into healthcare. And I went into business administration with a healthcare focus. So my goal was, one day I'm going to run a healthcare facility. And did U of I, made a bunch of great friends, met a husband there, and then came out and started my life in healthcare. And I started right at the bottom, straight out of school. College, there's some journey, I guess, in that too, right? Having to pay for it yourself and having to save up enough money. I worked probably 5 jobs when I was in college to make that happen for myself, and figured out a way to graduate a semester early so I could I could afford it. So that was a journey in and of itself. And I couldn't be more thankful for the experience that I had, because I think it built me into, who I am today. And some of the things that I think you probably like best about me were built, in my childhood. So I thank my parents for that.
So you graduate early, you're working 5 jobs. Are you partying, sorority, and an excellent student? You're doing all of the things?
Yeah, pretty much. I said I did it all, nothing super great. So I was in a sorority for 1 semester, and I just decided that it was not for me. It wasn't speaking to me. People telling me what to do, what to wear, what to buy, who to hang out with, and I just figured there was something more, and just wasn't for me. So I didn't pursue that, and definitely had a lot of fun in college and partied and had some great friends. But yes, I was a straight A student for sure.
So 5 jobs, straight A's, and you graduate a semester or a year early?
It was just a semester. So I figured out how to make it so I did an internship my last semester, and I came home and I was able to get college credit for it, but live at home and not have to pay rent.
And at the risk of aging you, what year did you graduate college? If you don't want to say, you don't have to.
98.
Okay. Did you get and this I also don't know, you got a business degree or a healthcare? It was business with a focus on medical?
Yes. Health administration is technically it. So.
Okay, so you're crushing life. You meet your husband in the midst of your partying phase, early, sophomore, junior, or?
I was a sophomore. Okay. I think, met him. And yeah, he was a big part of helping me get through it. He had a similar upbringing, and his parents made him work, the same, and kind of pay for his own stuff. And I'd say like the best part of our story is we both started with absolutely nothing, but absolutely no debt. Both of us started in the exact same situation, and then everything we built, we built together.
That's right. I don't know if it's good or not, but you got to tell me, how did you meet Mr. A? The moment, what was the fatal day?
I was going to a Illini basketball game, and I picked, party girl as I picked a co-ed dorm. So boys on one side, girls on the other. And I happened to work in the dorm too. One of my jobs was working in the cafeteria. I lived on the dorm, and I was coming home, and of course I would go through the boys' side, because why wouldn't you? Coming home with my friends, and he popped out, saw us in our gear, and was like, "Who won?" And I said, "Oh, go Illini." And he's like, "Oh, well, where are we going?" And I said, "The bar camps." And he's like, "Well, I'll get my stuff. I'll meet you in 5 minutes." And I was like, "Oh, who is this?" And, the signs on the doors. So I saw Peggy Aschenbrenner, Algonquin, Illinois. And I was like, let me go over to my side. I know there's a girl from the same town, and I'm going to ask her about him quick. So I pulled her aside. I was like, "Hey, this guy just invited himself out with me. Is he a creep, or, what's he like?" And she's like, "No, he's cool. He's cool." So he came over as promised, and we went out to the bar and talked all night in a booth with no table. And then on the way, I told him about my family, my Ukrainian heritage, and he said he liked that. On the way home, he tried to hold my hand, and I slapped him and said that I don't do that. And he said from then on, he knew that I was wife material. So
that's awesome. All right, cool. All right, back to business. Enough about the sappy love story. Okay, so crushes it in college, works her way up in the medical field. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I started in sales and like admissions in a skilled nursing facility. My first job was like straight out of school, like right away in March, before I even, had finished, technically graduated. So I did sales, admissions, a lot of marketing. I did some quality improvement work and like business improvement work early on, ran that. And then I ended up getting married and moved out to the suburbs. And there I did some work with a dialysis center. And so that's kind of what brought me to my job out in the suburbs, is having set up like the dialysis centers and the programs for that. What somebody who knew me said, "Hey, this person would be great." So interviewed, and then came to a similar job out in the suburbs. And then from there, was kind of doing the same thing. And I was like, I gotta do the next thing. I gotta find the next step for myself. So I actually went back to school, and I went back to nursing school. And back in that day, you couldn't like quit your job and just, you would have to quit your job. You couldn't just go to nursing school like on the side and weekends and evenings like they have now. So I had done all the prerequisites, and it came time where I had to make the decision. I was either going to quit my job and have, stop income and start paying for school, or I was going to keep working and not do that. And my husband and I made the decision at the time that I wasn't going to quit. So that kind of shot down that dream.
So you were doing well in your career at this time, and what was the reason you just had always wanted to do that, or what made you want to switch?
Oh, no, I didn't want to switch. I just needed to do the next thing, right? Like I needed to move myself up. I had done, admissions and marketing and quality improvement and had a number of jobs, and I was ready to move up to the next level, whether that was, in healthcare, it made sense to become a nurse. There's just so many options when you're a nurse, to be able to do anything in healthcare, really. So I figured that was a good step, and hadn't done that in college, so went back to try to obtain that degree.
And this is an inflection point. I think like you had a few of them, but so you were capped out where you could grow, or it was just you wanted to do another thing, or like
wasn't really capped out there. No, I just was ready for the next step, and I tried to better myself.
Yeah, I love that about you. I have that level up is just something you're always doing, which I think is it's incredible. But 98, how long had you been? What was that? What was your run? I'm going to make myself nervous here. If you only have an attention span like me of 4 years, then I'm going to get nervous. How long were you doing that?
A couple years, really. It was maybe 4 years.
Okay. All right. So you're thinking about the nursing degree, you decide, and you have kids at this time?
No. No kids.
Okay. And husband and you decide you're going to stay the course.
Yeah, I'm gonna not. I can't quit. I can't stop the income coming in. So he says, figure out something else. So I had everything except for like the clinical experience for my nursing degree, and kind of had to abort the mission. So then I said, what else can I do? And I said, you know what? I'm going to go into leadership. I'm going to go into administration, and I'm going to run the place. And so that's when I decided if I can't win, I'm going to win bigger. So yeah, I decided I was going to get my administrator license. That was the next step at the time. And I had the education and background for it. So I studied for that test and figured it all out and passed. And then I had some great mentors at the time that I worked with. I was super blessed to have worked for a wonderful company for almost 18 years. I worked there at the end of it all together, and met some people who helped me, influenced me, mentored me along the way. So one of the women was the current administrator of the building, and she had a short attention span and was going to move on, and told me, you can do this. Like, you can do this. I'll help you. And I want you to take over. So that's what I did. I went out and studied, got my license, and then I think I was 28 years old and put in charge of 150 patients and 150 employees, and everybody's life and livelihood and the success of the building was kind of in my hands.
So I think the healthcare needs to change that positioning, because we of the construction world hear administrator and think of a personal assistant. So the administrator is essentially CEO, executive, president of. You're the buck stops with you. So you're running the whole show.
Yeah, executive director, some people call it, but yes, exactly. CEO essentially of my little healthcare facility.
Okay, so 28-year-old Peggy is on top of the world figuring it out. That had to be like, I don't want to take too much time, but so you do that for how long?
I did that for 14 more years at that same place. And then I moved up and did some other things. And after, I kind of did it backwards, right? Like most people go into a career and they're young and they do a bunch of switching around and try out a bunch of different things. And then they land in something and stay there, right? I feel like I came into healthcare, tried out like one or two things, and just kind of built at the company I was at. And part of it was because I believed in them and I believed in their values, and And that's a thing that that Ralph really is good at. And it's part of why I ended up with Ralph. But yeah, I think values, if you believe in something, there's just no reason to not do it. And it will take care of you and you'll take care of it. And usually it works out. So that's the reason I stayed where I was. And I built, I feel as though I built something amazing. When I look back, it was something special in healthcare that we had.
At your building, or what do you call it? At your, okay, so.
Yeah, building facility.
So you spent 14 years, and the one thing that I think is important, and I hope that at some point we have young female leaders that listen to this, because I think your story is such a powerful testimony. And there was another gal we had on here in construction, Lisa, same way, but 28 years old, most of so you're taking over a 150-person company, 150 patients. So you're responsible for the lives of 300 people. Mm-hmm. At what are most of your peers that you went to college doing at that time as you're responsible for 300 people?
Man, I would say most of them trying to figure it out still. Most of them switching and jumping around and trying to figure out where they belonged.
Okay. And like in their career, they're still they're like just around the same place that they were, like in low level jobs, trying to figure out where they're still making their career.
Yeah, maybe. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think being in charge of 10 people at 28 is, I don't know, maybe not. These young kids are like blowers and goers, I feel like. But okay, so 14 years, you've been in charge of 300 people. You've had, I'm sure, many triumphs and failures, but we're not on the medical pod. We're on the atomic construction pod.
That's right.
So you hit another inflection point. And as I actually don't know this, so like what something is stirring about you, and like tell the story as so I really want you to go, because my main focus in this podcast with Kyle is like to get people to be more curious about the trades. And I think as a 20-year healthcare veteran, I love that you are now a seasoned construction veteran for 4 or 5, I don't know how many years later. But so I don't know, just take me through as granularly as you can how this goes, like step by step. Like I prefer to even live in the conversations with you and your husband, because I imagine this is a big move. This is a scary move. And I don't think most people make it. And I hope that your story will kick a lot of other people off the ledge and they'll just go jump.
Yeah. I mean, you do something for 18 years, 20 years, stay at the same place for 14. It's scary. It's comfortable, especially when you have a good thing, right? It's super hard to leave that. And so I guess I'd start at when I left the place I was at for, 15 years. Honestly, it started because our owners sold. They sold, and the values changed in general, and the trajectory changed. And really, that particular facility ended up in like a huge bankruptcy scam with HUD, and there was some fraud and some not up and up things going on that happened that I could see coming, and I didn't believe in it. So that's what sparked me to make my first change. And so, like I said, I kind of did it backwards. And so I went off, and got myself promoted. I became like a regional director of operations and tried that out for a couple of years.
Same company or different company?
Different company.
So you left the company. Was it, and just because they're coming to our industry as well, was it institutional capital, like private equity bozos, or was it family owned? I go family owned. What is the year, approximately, what year do you say, hey, I'm going to go work for somebody else in healthcare? So you do this regional stuff? Is 2005 or 6 or something. Anyway, so I do some regional for a couple of years, and then I tried my hat at recruiting. So kind of left that like industry took a chance on a friend that I knew in the industry, and did some little bit more of like entrepreneurial, like consulting, and did recruiting and that. And then that was really just a kind of a temporary thing. And then that's where I got called back. So the company that I used to work for that
had all this fraud ended up getting purchased by a more reputable company. And they called back and said, hey, do you want to everything you ever wanted for this company, right? Like, we can make it happen. We have all these resources now, and we can, come back and bring back the magic. And so I did, and I went back to that company and worked there for another couple of years. And it was there that COVID hit. So that was 2020. And like that was super rough to be in a facility during COVID, to be responsible for all of that. And like with healthcare, I guess like the story is really like the 24/7. I mean, I've always been committed, but the 24/7 just like started taking a toll on my family, right? Like I was rarely home. I mean, my phone would ring in the middle of the night. If there was a snowstorm, like everybody else would stay home and I'd run out into it and pick people up and make sure that I had enough staff. And if the night shift was short, I was there. Even if I couldn't take care of the patients, I could be there to support the people who did, right? And show them that I cared. So I spent many a night shifts. And my husband, he got laid off from his job in construction-ish way back in 2009. And so at that time, we kind of both looked at each other and were like, we were making similar money. Both of us are doing pretty good. But I'm way more apt to like conform and follow the rules and like work in a more corporate America, where he is very much not able to really do that, and kind of, is the type of person who just needs to be a little bit more wild and free and make his own rules. So anyway, we looked at kind of where we were at, and we said, you know what, you work, you're not laid off, I am. And there was some good things going on with the economy and the unemployment and all that. It ended up being like a really good deal for him just to stay home and take care of the kids. So he did that and pulled them all out of daycare, and he ended up raising 4 girls. And I just kind of followed the career path. So I was committed, and I had to be committed to making it work, and and to advance my career, and I had support at home to help me do that. But it was really that 24/7, and just like my level of commitment wouldn't let me not care and wouldn't let me not do it. So I just gave and gave and gave and gave. And my husband, not so good with little girls, and they started getting a little older and having girl drama, and he needed me to be more involved and more aware. My kids were, had some questionable behavior and troublesome thoughts. And really, I could tell that I just needed to be more present. And after COVID, that was all coupled with COVID happening, and really just like putting everything out there and taking care of people and keeping them safe. And I was so proud, because during COVID, I kept my facility COVID free for more than a year. We followed everything and kept it COVID free. And then on New Year's Day, and that's another thing about healthcare, it's always a holiday when it all hits the fan. But it was New Year's Day, and COVID hit the building, and just to watch, just people pass before your eyes, and to have tried so hard, and then kind of there's just not much you can really do. It was really hard. So I saw it through, though. I was like, there's no quitters. Like, you can't abort, people in the middle of this. So I saw it through and got through that. And then I thought to myself, like, there has to just be something better for me. Like, there has to be more than this. If I can get through that, if I can convince all these people that they should, continue to work for me and not have hazard pay and risk their lives, and is what we all thought at the time, and I can coordinate all of the things that I had to do, like literally had to move 100 people in a day and keep all their belongings safe and their families at ease. I said, if I can do that, like really, really, I can do anything.
So I've talked to, like, it's interesting because, like, I think there's two industries that I think should be the beacon of like hope and optimism and beauty is insurance, shared risk, and healthcare, saving lives, making people healthier, all that. And like they're anything but that. So I'm just curious, the nurses I've talked to and the people in the medical field, very few of them, seldom do they talk about how great the industry is. Often do they talk about how terrible it is, like it's not a great environment, it's thankless, like pay sucks, hours suck, the conditions suck, blah, blah, blah. Do you relate to that? Obviously you were leading, so you had to take bad and make it good. But like, is that COVID-19 drove you away from healthcare, or more along the lines of healthcare was rough all along the way and COVID was, this is it, F this game, this is not a fun game?
I think that was more it, is that healthcare was rough. Yeah, rough all along the way. And then particularly in skilled nursing, right? It's a little bit glorious. And it's hard. It was, it's difficult. But yeah, COVID was like the icing on the cake. And I would say that it can be a wonderful. I mean, I definitely went into it because I wanted to help people. And of all the things that I would say I took out of it, man, it was, yes, like helping somebody, doing something for somebody else, watching like the success and being able to take care of somebody. Absolutely out of this world rewarding. And being able to seek excellence and build a team and develop people and like out of just ordinary people, right? Get them to do just extraordinary things. And the team building and the family building really is what we had by truly caring about each other. And then having all those people really, really, really care about what they're doing such that they support each other and made us really like one of the best there was, right? And that made me super proud. But I figured that's transferable. You can do that anywhere.
Yeah. So I want to take this moment, and I'm going to fast forward us a little bit. Like construction, you are now a construction professional, and Ralph is probably really proud of that. So for both the entrepreneurs listening, right? Like you don't have to have somebody that has industry specific knowledge to take a leader, and they do great things. That would be my charge to them. But for you, talking to people, like I think it's very like to make a switch, and we're going to talk about your switch. And I hesitate to intermingle construction versus your journey, because I think there's construction and then there's like startup construction. So, but so just for you to speak to anybody out of industry, the tech people, the medical people, that like, how would you describe like just construction versus, I think now's a good time, construction versus the medical field? How would you summarize that?
I would definitely say that skills are transferable, first of all. So if you want to, you can achieve, the same things in either industry. And I would say that construction has offered me for sure way more flexibility. Like people in construction take the holiday, like everything shuts down on Memorial Day. Nobody actually works. So it's wonderful for that. And my favorite thing about construction is you can shut it off and you can turn it back on. So that's the thing I enjoy most, is that like I can actually plan a party now and I can say I'm taking this day off. And yeah, people need me, but I can definitely turn it on and turn it off, and nobody's going to die most of the time. Like if I'm not there like that second. So that's definitely a plus. And then I would say that there's opportunity, right? Like you can be a leader, you can be technical, you can start your own business. There's purchasing opportunities, like leadership and different industry. You can be famous in the industry. There's those kinds of things to do. The entrepreneurial track is, totally different, I think, than construction, but you can be organized and policy oriented and, do all of those things in construction. So it's really just a matter of the business that your end product, I guess. And in healthcare, it's person's, well-being. And in construction, it's something cool that you get to see at the end of it.
You would endorse it?
Oh, yes.
With emphasis or with reluctance?
No, with emphasis.
Total emphasis. All right.
But I would say definitely definitely follow, above all things, I would say follow your values in your heart and make sure that it's something you believe in. And if it's that, then I would endorse it all day.
Good to go. All right. So COVID is, you triumph COVID, but it ultimately is like, it highlights that.
Yeah.
I got to do something different. All right. So now you're sitting with your husband and you're like, I'm making a switch. I tried recruiting. What's stirring about? What's next for Peggy?
I say I can do anything, and I promise I will still take care of our family. I figure this out, and I decided I was going to go into sales because I said if I can sell this COVID thing, and I believe in me is who I knew I believed in most. I wanted to make a change, and I think I kind of burnt out, right? Like I was definitely that, and so I was pretty motivated with everything that was going on in my life to make a change. And I said, I'm going to find something. So how I found Ralph was, I had to look for jobs that would pay pretty decent, right? Because I was making really good money in healthcare, and Ralph advertised that if you sell a lot and believe in yourself and take a chance on you, that you can achieve all these wonderful things. And I was like, well, duh. Yes, I for sure can. So I put my cover letter resume out there, and I'm pretty sure that what happened is I used the word gritty in that cover letter. And Ralph happened to be a person who believed in values pretty strongly, and gritty was one of Ralph's values. And so I think that keyword just kind of triggered. And because Ralph also was a person who I think looked for talent in the big picture and wasn't just boxed in by experience, he said, I got to talk to this girl. And that's how I wound up at my current employer with Ralph.
So Ralph runs a fence company. You did apply to sell fence, correct?
Sell fence. That is it. I just wanted to sell fence and kill it and make as much money as I possibly could and prove to my husband that I could do better for myself and make a new career.
And you're super comfortable in healthcare, and are you canvassing a lot of sales jobs, or this is the only one that spoke to you, or were you dropping it everywhere? Or
man, I was just like open to anything really, but it had to, I was only looking for a certain salary level, right? Like I'm the only one working. I had a family to support, or a potential where I could bet on me and that I could make it happen. So those were kind of my caveats. But yeah, I was all over. I mean, I was even in different aspects of healthcare a little bit, but I really was attracted to sales just because it was the don't take care of anybody else, just take care of yourself.
Okay, so you apply, and this goofy guy named Ralph probably reaches out. You guys have a conversation, or at what point are you talking about this with your husband? I'm leaving senior exec level healthcare to go sling fences. When does this?
Man, I'm pretty sure that I was in Florida on a volleyball trip with one of my kids, and I was working a deal with Ralph by the pool, and so he wasn't even there. But I do believe that before I left for that vacation, I quit my job, and I didn't have one. I said, like, that's it. Like, I'm going to be done. I'm going to be done with this. And so I think I might have called him, from Florida and said, hey, I'm going to meet with this guy. I think this could be it. And I think he just told me, just make it work, make it work.
Did he believe in you, or did you get friction? Was this like, was he excited about, like, you? I can imagine this. And I believe, if memory serves, or I heard this story right, that you took a significant pay cut to go bet on yourself to earn a commission, right?
Yeah.
And hubby is like, hell yeah, or he's like, oh my God, what are you doing?
No, I think at first he was like, hell yeah, because he wanted me to be around more, and he just, like, he was excited. The deal kind of that I had worked was I was going to work from home. I was just going to not be responsible for anybody. I was going to, work in sales. And yes, I was going to take a pretty hefty pay cut initially, but he knows how I am. So I think he believed in me too. And, he just told me, just make it happen.
So there wasn't a lot of deliberation. It doesn't sound like it felt right.
Nope.
You're taking a chance. You got the opportunity. You're just going to jump off. It was pretty easy for you to go bet on yourself.
Yeah, that part was easy. Now along the way, I won't say there wasn't friction, but
yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So okay, so you make this jump, eyes wide open. I mean, just talk about. I think was it advertised as? I mean, construction in my experience is chaos. I believe that your employer had a pretty chaotic environment. I hope that Ralph informed you, or was it like, what is your initial What's your initial reaction? Because you're sitting here, you're in an industrial fence company, I believe, and residential. You don't know the first thing about digging a hole, nothing. Like, you know nothing, right?
No.
Zero background. Yeah. So talk us through how that.
How did that go, right? No, I think like the thing that was good about Ralph is he set like a pretty clear expectations, right? And said like, this is what I believe is possible and this is what you'll need to do to achieve it. And I'm going to help you all along the way and mentor you and teach you the things. And if you're willing to learn, like you're going to be successful. Now, Ralph I don't believe like the way Ralph does now is tells people, you know, like it's kind of chaotic, but I don't know if he really told me. And or I wasn't really listening, but it was really, I worked from home, right? So I mostly worked by myself and then just engaged with people from the computer. So there's like a level of separation that you don't see everything, you know, when you're in your own little world. And I will say he was very, very supportive and very much like taught me, you know, let me shadow, and then gave me I think it was $1 million project, like right off the bat, and just told me to do stuff with it. But I think that if you're a person like willing to learn and who wants to do that, that you can be successful, you know, anywhere. If you don't want to, and you're going to wait for somebody else to tell you what to do and to give you the rules, you know, then maybe it's not going to work out as good for you.
Okay, so you get in there, and I mean, just take us through the journey. I mean, I guess walk all the goods and all the bads, I mean, I think I know you've been moved around all of this, but take us through the highlights and the lowlights, particularly the lowlights. I think that's where everybody can learn the most. But so you're selling fence, and then one thing I'd say is like where you met. I from my experience, like I suspect it was cold. There's this pretty girl from healthcare with her nice dress, and here she is in this rugged, disgusting office. Like, you know, I know you work from home, but how was your reception?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people were nice, but I wouldn't say like super respectful at first, right? Like I think the thought was like, what does she know, first of all? And she's probably not going to make it, right? But because they had to be, I think people were definitely nice to me. And I think that, like I said, I think I just did a lot of like figuring it out myself. I did a lot of like reading, and Ralph had sent me a bunch of videos to watch on YouTube, and one video led to the next, and I think I watched them all and spent a lot of time like just learning about stuff. And then like I would pick up in my car and just go see it, because I'm a learner who kind of needs to touch it and see it. So it was really hard to work at home and, you know, not have that experience. So yeah, the best thing I did probably was just pick up in my car and go see a construction site. And I remember the first time I did that, I showed up in a skirt and heels, and guy came running out of the trailer. And I was like, oh, he's so glad to see me. But really, he was like, OSHA, you got to get out of here. You got to get out of here with those shoes. So yeah, definitely had my share of embarrassing moments. But then I think maybe people could see, you know, I was willing to learn, and I was pretty gritty. And then I I followed, you know, I was willing to go out on job sites and follow people and kind of do anything. Take me to the yard, and I quickly switched from my high heels and my dress pants to work boots and jeans.
New wardrobe. That's your real favorite part. You got a whole new wardrobe now.
I did, yeah. So I think when, you know, first time I walked out into the yard and, you know, asked to be taught something, I think in construction too, people generally want to want to help people who are interested. If they're interested and they're willing to do it, I think that people will typically give you a chance. And then you've got to put some effort in on the back end, and then also fake it a little bit till you make it, right? So sometimes it's good to just act like you know what you're talking about and then Google it when you get home. And other times it's just like really humble to just say, I don't know. Can you show me that? And I think people like they're proud of their expertise, right? Like some of these guys have been doing this and that's their craft. And so they love it. And so I think if you approach it right, people are willing to help you. So anyway, selling fences, working from home. Every now and then I went into the super muddy office, spent like maybe 6 or 8 months just kind of learning the ropes and following Ralph and watching what he did and watching it pretty close and then trying to repeat what he did. And I mean, I think I did okay. Like first, we definitely sold some big jobs and did some decent things. And then the journey was kind of Ralph said, like, I think you'd be a better leader. Like, I think you could definitely, lead a team. And, then I took over. I did our sales. I definitely worked in estimating and learned some things there. And then I took over as the sales leader and kind of started leading that team.
Any idea how long after? So how long did you get to sell?
Man, probably 6 months, maybe. About right. I mean, I've been in construction for 4 years now, and I'm trying to count. I think I've had four or five. This is maybe my fifth role, so definitely no more than a year at anything, which was a little rough.
Yeah, that's not common. That would not be a construction story. That would be a startup story. So you get in. So talk us through, so you're now an executive. I want to definitely talk about your job now, which I think is really exciting. But I just want to, from 2021, you're at a $13 million company, I believe. I have that story right. And then now take us like the highlights and the lowlights, like just 15, 20 minutes. Like this was terrible. This was awesome. Like your experience.
I definitely loved like the vision that the company had. And I loved like the elevating, right? Like always going for the next thing. And the fact that Ralph like thought he could do anything and everything. So
this Ralph guy seems to be a hero. We got to talk bad about Ralph at some point.
I definitely will. Strangely, Ralph is like, I'm more like Ralph than I'd like to admit, where where you see the shiny thing or the next thing and you're just ready to like go conquer anything and you believe that you can do it and you can, and you kind of have all these like great ideas and then you don't always follow through on everything, right? Or sometimes you switch course, like just go to the next thing. So I'd say that I did love that. I didn't love sometimes I would say the switching focus, right? So it would be like, we got to do this. And then it wouldn't even be done, right? We decide it's a good idea. It wouldn't even be done. And then we'd be moving on to the next thing. Or we'd say we did it to maybe check a box, but we didn't actually do it. We didn't actually make it sustainable. And so like we did a lot of cool things. And I'd say like one thing great about Ralph is like he could see not the forest for the trees, but he could see like the deer or the elk in the forest and be like, I want that. And then figure out how to get there and push make a crazy mess in the way while get to the thing you wanted, and could be totally laser focused on doing that. So I would say that like there was like in entrepreneurial and in construction a little bit, like just some disorganization, right? And like, I want everything now. I'm going to move directions like all around to get it. Was sometimes a little frustrating. I would say we did a lot of running before we could crawl. And sometimes did things maybe fast to say we did them instead of going through like the painful necessary steps to like get there right. So yeah, I would say truly operationalizing things. And then I would say there's a lot of turnover, and that's bad and good sometimes. It can be both, but I would say that in this case, it was just hard because in order to really build something sustainable, right, you've got to build a process around it, and you've got to have something that people can, come to and fall back on. And when you're constantly changing, it's real hard to build that and have it be there, because and especially too when you don't write things down, it's always in somebody's head, and when that person's gone, poof, so is everything that they did, so that made it difficult.
For the audiences, let's tell them what, so you're at Complete Fence, you started in sales, it's 13 million, give the highlight of where, what did
man, first year we did 20, we got to 20 million. Ralph said, get me to 20 million this year. So we got to 20 million. So it was almost double, right?
Yep.
The sales. So that was a huge accomplishment. I would say setting the focus on bigger and better things was a huge accomplishment. Focusing on the commercial side and bigger jobs and being able to do bigger things was awesome. I would say that we focusing on industry a little bit, becoming specialized in solar and in data centers and sports and some of the different things that we did definitely was a highlight. Am I lowlights too, or just highlights? And lowlights is definitely, our facilities were definitely not ideal, right? We kind of worked in a place with the drainage had broken, and it was muddy and dirty. And I would say for a bit, we couldn't really afford to move or to fix it. So it was a little bit just deal with it and make the best you can out of it. So that was.
Let's tell it for all the glory that it's not. We had it's a terrible office. It's dilapidated in DeKalb. We're growing and things are going well. We're not really making any money. It's a little bit it's not going great, right? And so you're swinging it out. But literally our sewage is overflowing into the office at some point, right?
I was going to say, well, yeah, really, yeah. I remember the day that, the toilet kept backing up, and I had arranged a pumper to come every 2 weeks to fix it. And I remember sitting at my desk and just looking down, and yeah, sewage was literally coming through the walls. I said, really? The other great story was the day that I put my lunch on the ground, right? And my lunchbox, I just put it down by my desk, and I get ready to go home for the day, and I put my lunch in the car, and I'm driving my hour home, from DeKalb, and I feel something up my leg. And I was like, I don't know, some feather or something. And it kept coming. And I, at one point, looked down, and there is a mouse climbing up my thigh in the car. And I just remember calling Ralph and his sister and saying I quit. I quit. I was I cannot do this. And they laughed at me. No, you don't mean that. And I was I really do. I definitely, sewage was yesterday and the mouse today. And I said, it's just not something that I can do. And I think there was a point when I actually I was going to leave because, yeah.
Let's talk about that. I think it's a key moment because you had to hang in there, I believe, through a lot more than you should have. So there was a lot of compounding things.
Yeah. Well, what were the things? It was moving positions, right? It was I was doing sales leader. Then it was like you said, the company was kind of not doing the greatest, right? And there was a lot of turnover and a lot of change in leadership and a lot of disorganization. Like I said, a lot of things in people's head that just needed to be organized. And we had grown really fast, right? So there was a lot of projects that needed some organization. So again, it was kind of I got recruited to work in operations. Wasn't, I had left operations, right? I didn't really want to do that, but true to the values. Like I was mission minded and I believed in the company. So I offered to help. And yeah, and it was there in operations that, really I had to deal with the daily mud. I had to deal with the mice and the sewage and just all the heartache. So I think it just was compound from like being there for 3 years or 2.5 years and having gone through like, three or four positions. I didn't really want to switch around and all of that. And then, people in healthcare like kept calling me and recruiting, trying to recruit me back. And there was a time I thought that I was going to go do my dream job, right? Which was going to be to just basically do business improvement, right? Like work on the business and just have the time to do it better.
So you're dealing with shit in the office. You're dealing with mice around your lunchbox, crawling up your skirt, and your dream job for healthcare comes back for a company that you'd like to work for, making more money, I'm sure.
Yep.
And you said I quit, and I haven't heard from Ralph, but I don't think he even remembers this. So, and also, I think if I'm not mistaken, you're facing headwinds at home.
Yes.
Husband's like, just screw that. I think he's pretty sure that the company's not going to make it. They're the bunch of jalopies. This Ralph guy's a dumb dick. And so why did you stick? Why did you not leave?
Yeah, I got all of that. You're exactly right. Like my husband was done. He said, you promised me you'd be making more money by now. And, all the things. So I think it was all of that combined. And I just said like, this is something I've always wanted to do. Like I've always wanted to go out there. Like, and it's like the person who, all the projects that you ever wanted to do and you just don't have the time to like actually execute or like put the time in because you're too busy dealing with the day to day. Like I was just going to be that person to like make projects happen and just like support everybody. So anyway, it was needless to say
in healthcare,
right? It was my dream come true job. So I told Ralph, I said, at the end of this year, and I really liked Ralph, but I also was getting a lot of pressure at home and it had been a couple years, right? And we hadn't really made it happen. So I just said, that's enough's enough. Like I'm just gonna go back. So anyway, Ralph didn't believe me. And I don't think he was really listening. So even though I told him, he just kind of proceeded. I do think he hired somebody, but then just sort of talked to me like I was just staying forever. And so as it would turn out, and much like it is in healthcare, right? Like the facility that I was going to go work for, the deal of the sale didn't work out. Something like that happened. And so they called and said, you can still come and work for this other company, but this entrepreneurial thing that we were going to do is going to be delayed. It's going to be delayed like about 6 months. And so you're just, if you want to work with me, you're going to have to wait. And I was like, okay, like I'll wait. And so I just went about my business with Ralph since he didn't know, he wasn't the wiser anyway. And I said, I'll just do this in the summer. And then it was kind of like, I'm a committed person. So it was summertime and that's like high fencing season. And so when that came back around, I think we had made some changes and, there was always something in fencing that kept me coming back, right? Like we always made some progress together, or we always had some like awesome experience or breakthrough, or we did something really cool that nobody ever did before that always made me kind of believe and stay motivated. And so I just told them at that time, I said, it's sorry, like it's the middle of fencing season, like you'll have to wait for me now. And then the rest is history. Like I kind of never looked back from that time on because Ralph just kept listening and making the company better and better and like developed himself, I'd say, and then let us all develop with him. So it just was a place that I knew I wanted to be.
Are you now proud of where you work?
Oh, yes.
When did you go from embarrassed to proud? Like what was the turning point company-wise?
Man, I've been proud at so many, so many times. I've been proud when we hit goals that we wanted to hit. I was proud like the first winter when we said like we didn't lose as much money as we were supposed to this winter. I've been proud when we were able to buy the cruise trucks and some things like that, right? I've been like proud. But I would say like once we moved from the location, definitely was like really a turning point. And I just say like the power of like elevating and the power of your environment is such a powerful thing. If you believe that you're going to be that first and then you make that happen, right? And or like you change your surroundings to make it fit your story. And that's kind of what we did when we moved is we took our surroundings and we made it fit who we were, and it just elevated the room and the business and all of the people. That's the point where you're able to recruit a totally different level, totally different level of person, because how can you bring somebody to an office and have them walk through a mud pit? And it's not for everybody.
So just summarize where the company's at now. I mean, just seriously summarize Complete Fence. So, let's call it what it was. You walked in, it's a shit show. It's a shit show, but it's growing. The culture was solid, right?
Yep.
Like we had said from the beginning, like that was what was important, and that's what drew you in. Probably what kept you in, because we always lived into our values, we always lived into our purpose, but all along the way, processes sucked until right about now. We didn't really have any, and you were always saying that. You watched a bunch of different leaderships groups come in and come by and leave and not make it. And just summarize what would you say about Complete Fence now?
We've elevated the room, right? We are living up to our potential now and our like what we're capable of, and we're bringing a whole bunch of people with us, so we're able to attract talent, we're able to keep it. We are well on our way to being organized and efficient. We are definitely going to make money this year and be able to be proud of that, and all celebrate our our achievements, and our Ralph is very generous and also wants to share in that, so we're going to make it. And I would say that we are to be envied some. Like we definitely have that culture is like the secret sauce and the component that not a lot of people have and not a lot of people like stand by. And we're to be beaten. Like we'll be the ones to beat. We're we're elevated and in experts really in what we're doing, and absolutely are gonna kill it.
Game on. So then I guess in the event that there's other, we call ourselves specialty contractors, fencers, all the trades, like if there's other people that are struggling to grow their business, what would be your do's and don'ts? And you went sales leader, ops leader, you've been on the executive team through thick and thin. What would you encourage from what you've seen for either people that are at the director level or middle managers trying to make it for themselves, and then to the Ralphs of the world, the guys that are leading the charge? What would your caution be? We're an Inc. 5000 company. We went from 2018, 4 million to now 43 million. We've done a thing here. It was painful all along the way. What would your cautions be? What would your encouragements be to anybody that finds themselves in some type of similar situation? Maybe not poop in the office, but something close.
Something close. I would say like decide, commit, and succeed, right? Like decide what you're going to do, like put it out there, write it down, tell people, like absolutely without a doubt. I guess I would say set goals, and say what you're going to do out loud. And then I would say commit, right? Like make a plan to get there and don't settle for anything less than, what you can achieve. And then, share in that success. And I'd say like when I say share in the success, it's like say the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. It's like my favorite leadership saying, where it's like see the big picture, like know what you have and who's around you, and then use all your resources to be able to get what you want out of your goals. I guess I would say would be the do's, like for sure have a plan and work with the talent that you have. And then my don't just always fly by the seat of your pants. If you want to grow, right? Like if you want to just be small, and some people, that's okay. That's all they want to do is be $1 million fence company and, or specialty contractor, and they can handle it all in their head. But know what you're getting into, right? Like if you want to grow, you've got to have it scalable and be able to have things a little bit more organized. And if you're just interested in staying where you're at, then keep doing what you're doing.
Cool. I'm going to take you through a lightning round of everything I ask my construction leaders. But before I do, I think we've talked about, what is it? People, process, and tools is the three. Is that the big hairy three?
Yeah.
What do you think is the secret sauce? Where do you fall out on the three? I'm curious what you say. You got the tools, the process, and the people.
Man, it's like the chicken and the egg, for sure. I'm a process girl, right? Where I believe that I believe a lot of things. I believe you can take ordinary people and have them do extraordinary things, for sure, if they have like a decent process to follow and they know what's expected of them, and they have great tools. But I also believe that the right people create those things, right? And the right people will make that happen. So, and not everybody is built that way. So I got to stick with my roots, and I still believe that you need, values and culture always first. I think for sure that's king. And if you set your expectations of what you want, the right people will follow, right? And then so that's the people component, and those right people will do the right things. And if you have a good leader in place, then that person will see the talent of everybody around them and put the people in the right spots to like achieve, what needs to get done. So I love them all.
She doesn't pick.
If I had to pick, I guess I'd go process.
All right, cool. So this is sometimes hard for people. Sometimes we'll be interested to see. So the definition of good leadership as prescribed by Peggy Aschenbrenner. Say it in a sentence.
I'd say a good leader really guides and develops other people to like achieve a common goal. A good leader, I think above all, must be selfless and be able to see the big picture and use the tools in the most effective way possible.
Good to go. You gave my next question is favorite leadership trait. You said selfless.
I'd have to go selfless. Yeah, selfless, supportive. I believe that you have to be like, the secret sauce has always been like care for people genuinely, care for people. And if you are looking out for them, not just like their personal well-being, of course, that's very important, but like their professional well-being, like that includes seeing somebody's talent and growing them and giving them the support and the resources, or being clear and firm with somebody and, telling them what they're not good at. All those things are selfless. And I think you have to do those to be a good leader, for sure.
So favorite part of the construction industry, Peggy?
I think I love being a woman in the construction industry. Actually, I think it's pretty cool to kind of be the minority. At least at the beginning, it was not so much anymore. There's a lot of powerful things, but it makes me feel very, very powerful to achieve, what we've achieved in the construction industry. And I do enjoy the relaxed atmosphere, and I really enjoy the flexibility.
Very good. We're going to have I don't know if you know, there's going to be a clothing line, and you'll be rocking a She Builder shirt. So she Builder all the way. If you could change anything about the construction industry, what would it be?
I guess I'd have like people quit changing the schedule. other trades being late. Like, I don't know. There's always
We're talking to you, GCs. We're talking to you, general contractors. That's your damn job.
Yeah. Changing that up. That's probably the roughest thing, is like, oh, you got to be there. And then, but you don't, like, hurry up and wait. Right. That kind of thing. So it's just schedule, because time is money, and you definitely waste some time when you when you mobilize or do any of those things and somebody else isn't really ready for you. So
Yeah. What makes Peggy Aschenbrenner unique?
I think just in general, in this industry anyway, like just making that jump. Like I think a lot of people wouldn't do that. So I'd say that's definitely unique. And then I would say that I'm we call it a freak, but I think the commitment to the mission.
Yeah, I can attest. Ralph says yes. Do you have a favorite book, top reads, The Aspiring Leaders?
Man, I love all that kind of motivational stuff. I'm gonna look over here at my bookshelf and and see. Start with why. I think that's a good one. I think always having a purpose for sure is definitely, I think, the key to keeping people motivated, and people want to be part of something bigger than themselves. So
good. I had you at hello. We were all purpose driven and value oriented. I didn't need a good running company. I just had a purpose and
Exactly.
a purpose and a culture. Yeah.
I think it's what kept me going.
Who's your favorite famous person? Your least favorite famous person? The story of the toughest season of Peggy's life, not fence season, but season, just period of time. If you could be the almighty God in control for all day with no limitations, you're not resource deprived, and you could fix any problem, you could just breathe it into existence and it could be fixed, what would you fix? And then what do you hope that your construction legacy is going to be?
Oh, those are tough questions. Okay, famous people I just don't really care about. Like I'm the girl who went to the concert and didn't know the main singer. So, but I'd go athletes. I do love all athletes. I just love the grit and the determination that they have. So,
who's your all time favorite athlete?
I don't even. I mean, I make Michael Jordan maybe is a good one. I love the story of didn't make the basketball team, that kind of thing. So, but definitely athletes. I love athletic movies, all of that good stuff. So, man, toughest season of my life would just be watching my family need me and not being able to be there. So that's that. Any problem. Wow. I want to say I'd fix stupid, but I don't think that's one of my favorite answers.
I'll let you answer with this. When you think of stupid, what's the stupidest? When you think of stupid, what bothers you most?
Probably when people don't try. They don't try. So
okay,
get everybody a figured out factor and have them all try. It's a little harder. And construction legacy, man, I want to be a powerful woman who has, helped to lead a turnaround. And I want to be able to have the story of rags to riches, right? Like we did it. And I want to be able to have it be something sustainable. I always said when I left my job at 18 years, I said the best thing that will happen is if the place doesn't fall apart. Like if it just keeps running excellent, that means that I did my job. Like when I can walk away and the thing runs itself, that'll be my greatest legacy ever.
Sweet. I think when we get to Forbes, it's going to be you up there, the woman behind every department. So I want to close with one harmonious little, you got your dream job, didn't you? Tell us what you're doing for Complete Fence.
I did. Yeah. So as fate would have it, right? I got my dream job right in fencing. So I got the best of both worlds. I got the job that I've always dreamed of doing, and I get to do it in an industry where I get to be powerful. I get to have the flexibility. I get to have all those things. So right now my job is director of business improvement, and not every company or every fence company has one of those. But my one thing that I have to do is make the company more valuable through value creation initiatives. So I do things it's all the things that you never have the time to do, but you just want to get done, right? So whether that's as simple as a project where you're man, we just need to go through all of these and find the widget and, delete it. I sometimes get to do a simple thing like that. And sometimes I get a giant project that really needs research and and solving, and I get to go do all of that and then create something and make a process. And then I get to implement it, train everybody, revise it, take their feedback, and like just make it better. And so it's super rewarding to have people. I get to take care of people. So people need me every day. I get to, watch things get better. I get to watch it create money for us. And honestly, like it's the job I've always dreamed of. So I'm going to work like heck to make sure that I do it the very best I can.
The final closer is to our family mates, the people, the 120 people that work with and for you at Complete Fence that listen to this. What would you have to say to them other than thank you and we love you? What would you say?
Yeah, definitely that. But I'd say it's because of them. It's because of all their expertise and the special talents that they bring to the table, that, other people do their part and put them all in the right place. But every single person is super important and a huge part of it. And we'll get where we're going because of them.
Lovely. You're a big purpose person. We talked about the power why. We talked about our culture, but we have not said the Complete Fence purpose. What's the purpose of the company, Peggy?
To take care of our fence family, for our fence family to prosper. Yeah, it's like meaningful work to have our fence family prosper.
Yeah, trying to bridge the gap. I don't know what the book answer is, but I always think it's to build the middle class in our company, to bring the bottom up. To provide. I think it's provide abundant. Oh my gosh.
You got us both. But basically,
holy crap.
It's to do really well, right? It's like fence is just the vessel to do really well, to make abundant work and have everybody prosper with us.
I can't believe I can't recite it, but it was always to build the middle class in our company, to provide to provide gainful opportunities for our workforce family to prosper.
I know it
with a keen awareness on the installer. There it is.
Yes, it rolls off the tongue so nicely when you say it from the book. But yeah, we both
just
got
know it inherently.
Yeah,
Peggy, thanks for being here.
It was my pleasure.
I appreciate you hanging with me for all those years.
Oh, I wouldn't have it any other way. So
we're just getting started. Peggy Aschenbrenner. I hope you guys enjoyed her as much as I did. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Peggy, for coming. Pineapple Productions, thanks for putting on a great pod. If you didn't like it, fill out the survey. If you did like it, comment, like, subscribe. Let us know we're doing a good job and share with your friends. Until next time, keep building better. Thank you.